On Monday, Neptune changes signs, so we see the first big ingress of an outer planet moving from Pisces in the sign of Aries. So a big initiation through the cardinal sign of Aries. It is a fire sign, and we've been stuck in the mud for the past 14 years with Neptune in the sign of Pisces. It connected us all together in this like boundless ocean of apps and smartphones and social media, where we kind of lost a little bit of our own identity. And that is about to change, because as Neptune in Pisces really ruled over a lot of influencers and a lot of fake spirituality being portrayed on social media as well, not practicing what you preach, all of that is about to come to an end, because Neptune in the sign of Aries, that is a very big initiation through fire. It's really about who am I? I am is the sign of Aries. It's really about, yeah, a whole new identification process, and Neptune is going to mark a very big shift in that. So this is really the start of a new 14-year cycle that is about to kick off. I have to say that the last couple of days I felt a little bit more dreamy, a little bit more like lost in space, a bit more tired as well. Neptune right now is at 29 degrees. It's a critical degree at the end of Pisces. So yeah, this is like the most amount of fog or yeah, illusion and confusion that it can cause right now. So if you've been feeling the same, just know that it's normal with this whole Neptunian energy that is about to shift into a whole new sign. So yeah, I even forgot to like unplug from my Wi-Fi and plug into the whole Ethernet cable. So that's why this intro might be a little bit choppy, but we fixed it just in time. And that is like also one of the implications of like Neptune at the end degrees and feeling a little bit lost in space and in our head. Aries, of course, rules the head, so it's going to be very important for the coming 14 years not to get stuck in our head, to really take action upon our dreams, on our visions, and we need to stop just wondering and reminiscing about them. Now it's really the time to get off the couch, to really embody what you preach, and to really take action on what you've been envisioning for the last 14 years. So let's look at what I've got for you guys today. We're going to go over the most important dates. And of course, we've already had a little bit of a preview whenever Neptune shifted into Aries last year. It did that on the 30th of March from the 22nd of October. So that was like a brief ingress. But now on January the 26th, it will go permanently in the sign of Aries. So it's going to stay there until May of 2038. Then it's going to do a retrograde motion, and it's going to leave the sign of Aries on March 2039. So yeah, Neptune spends roughly 14 years in each sign, and that is a time that the themes become more idealized and glamorized and also normalized across culture. So from now on, that will be in the sign of Aries. And Neptune, it doesn't operate through logic. It really works through the atmosphere and symbolism and our feelings and like the collective subconscious as well. And what feels true matters more than what is actually true under a Neptune transit. And that is why these periods very strongly reshape our art, our politics, spirituality, but also our belief systems in a very, very profound and deep way. So yeah, we're finally leaving behind the Neptune in Pisces transit. It moved fully into Pisces in 2012 until now. So yeah, that was really an era that got defined by the collective sensitivity that got massively increased. There were a lot of narratives surrounding sacrifice and victim mentality. We saw so many blurred boundaries, spiritual longing, spiritual denial, and also like mass emotional identification with the whole Piscean realm. So now it's going to be very, very different. Action instead of like pondering or absorbing the negativity. It's more now about assertion instead of surrendering, and yeah, very big focus and spiritual focus on individualization instead of like merging together. So yeah, this is a very, very big shift in the gears here of Neptune that we are about to see. And if you look at the themes, and I'm maybe gonna switch this off because it annoys me here during the general reading. So the core principles of Neptune, really, it's like the edges, they blur between like ourself and others, between truth and illusions. It's about spirituality versus escapism, and also like this whole idealism versus deception. And it really rules over what is felt deep inside rather than actually proven. So things that we sense rather than what we see. Neptune is about the unseen realms. And Neptune is very, very famous for the illusions and the lies, but it doesn't actually lie in a direct way. It rather confuses, seduces, it mystifies and puts like a kind of veil around things, and it also is able to enchant. So it can make things feel very meaningful and sacred, even when like the logic facts are missing or when it's not proven. And Neptune is really what's underneath all of that. So the higher manifestation is, of course, spiritual awakening and compassion, but be careful because Neptune is about to conjunct Neptune, and then we can definitely see a lack of compassion because Saturn refrains and has a very big limiting quality to it. But it's definitely a very big emphasis on our collective empathy. Also, of course, about mysticism and religion and our beliefs, and also very big emphasis on our music industry, Hollywood, our screens. All of that is being ruled over by Neptune. So yeah, it's really like art that is going to transcend time or logic, and now it's going to get way more feisty and fiery when it's in the sign of Aries. So focus on faith and devotion and unconditional love are all the more beautiful qualities of Neptune. But then we have the lower manifestation. And of course, it's about illusions and fog and lies and being in denial. We've saw so many scapegoating and savior complexes over the last 14 years, and like victim narrative became very, very popular. It even got celebrated in numerous of ways. But it's actually in connection to our like avoidance of responsibility, and Saturn will not allow that anymore. Also, not in sign of Aries. No, it's about growing up the next cycle. So of course, Neptune also rules over cults, mass manipulation through the mainstream media, but now also the alternative media. We're going to see things playing out in that as well. And of course, Neptune also rules over any types of substance abuse, addictions, escapism, because Neptune wants to like tap into another realm of like, yeah, it's like you can escape through meditation, but you can also do it through substance abuse. And we saw a lot of increases within that as well. The positive side is that like mushrooms and all these alternative treatments got really popularized and normal as well, rather than like the classic medicine. It really showed that like certain types of drugs are able to really, yeah, heal trauma. And yeah, so I know there are like different opinions on that, but like the micro dosing and all that stuff, I know a lot of people that helped them a lot by doing that. So of course, also gaslighting, misinformation is all part of Neptune as well. So yeah, the shadow side really appears when people try to escape reality instead of like integrating meaning and spirituality into their reality. There was such a big theme on interconnectivity, spiritual unity, and the idea that we are all one in this very big, vast, boundless space within our dreams, ideals, and illusions. And Neptune works especially by dissolving boundaries, and we saw that playing out through borders as well. So that is a very big big theme the last 14 years. And I know there are like a lot of different opinions on that as well. But if you look at like mass immigration and how Neptune also played a very big part in that, ruling over our borders and really like dissolving all of the set structures and boundaries where people cross over. Yeah, if you look deeper at the Kalarchi plan and how our dark arts people have been doing this on purpose, then like your whole mindset shifts around it. And I'm all for it, for helping people who are in need. But definitely there's a very big, deep layer underneath all of that. And I think that this is one of the big things that is going to become massively exposed over the next few months, how the Kalarchi plan was actually put into place to mess up the whole culture of the West, and how that's already actually too late in a very big sense. But still, the pendulum swings, and I was going to swing to the total opposite side. Neptune and Saturn together, they do. It is like no empathy. And now we're going to see the whole other side, which I do not agree with 100% as well. It's like, it's difficult and very complex, but still something has to be done about all of these things. And definitely for the States, the Saturn-Neptune conjunction is going to happen at the EC, which means at the bottom of the chart, where the fourth house belongs, where people actually live. And new boundaries are going to be drawn in regards to that as well. And we're going to see it in other parts of the world as well. So with that being said, these days it's just also difficult to like really form like this whole consensus on right versus left, and it is just a very difficult topic. But definitely there's going to be more truth coming out in regards to the Kalarchi plan and what like the real meaning of it is, and how that's playing out in the collective right now, and why people are massively revolting against that. So yeah, very big emphasis on right versus left again, and that creating more division for sure. So another important thing here is the theme of globalization. So Pisces, it is the ocean, it is limitless, it is boundless, no borders. Neptune and Pisces, it amplified the feeling of no boundaries. But we can definitely see that playing out in like the whole internet for the past 14 years. Social media, e-commerce, all of that really exploded. And yeah, there was like this big creation of a borderless digital world where anyone could share and speak and sell and connect. And it's also very important to be mindful about like the confirmation bias, because if you tune into the algorithm and you have a certain opinion, that it gets confirmed everywhere where you look, because the algorithm just like adjusts to your opinion. So the past few years, a very strong emphasis on everybody that thinks that they are having the truth or like knowing the truth, and that they are right in their opinion, and that creating even more division amongst people. So I would really strongly advise you to take both sides into consideration, try to bridge them. There is a very big gap right now, and Neptune in Aries is not going to bridge that gap. It's going to make it even more stronger, more potent, because now it's all about me, myself, and I, and that is going to create more conflict, actually, where everyone got lost in their visions with Neptune and Pisces. Now everybody is going to be so strongly convinced that they have the truth in hand. We were also stuck in the mud with Neptune and Pisces. We were so lost in illusions and so confused about a lot of topics, a lot about false hope, false religion. Religious wars are going to intensify very strongly. So Neptune in Aries, it is correlated to the Civil War. We're going to see echoes from that as well. There's going to be a very big split between all the split groups that we're seeing already. So it will be good to just do not fan the flames. Another thing, of course, is like the rise of remote work, digital nomads, like the rise of remote work and all of the digital nomads, that has also led to like a breaking of traditional job structure and our work identities. And then, of course, we also saw a lot of the same mass manipulation being broadcasted through all the streaming platforms, which really like blurred all of the cultural lines, because the entire world is like looking at Netflix and the same propaganda that we are getting, like that they are feeding us through all of these streaming platforms. It's also something to be aware of, because Neptune is also connected to like propaganda, control over the narrative, religious authority, myths, false flags, black swan events. And my prediction is that when we're going to see another psyop or black swan event or something major happening, whenever Neptune was in Pisces, it was very difficult to get to know the whole truth. And that will become easier now that it's going to be in Aries. So I think that is one of the positive things here. It's going to be easier to look what's happening behind the veil and what they are trying to hide, or which illusions that they're going to try to cast upon us. So yeah, that is more of a positive notion. But definitely Neptune, it operates inside of the ether, very invisible. It affects the symbolic field that surrounds us. It shapes society through our dreams. It can also romanticize, and it's about the things that we all unconsciously agree upon together in this big, vast ocean of boundless realms that we cannot see. So Neptune, it is about like unity and transcendence and sacrifice, compassion, illusion, and also redemption. So it dissolves all these boundaries, not necessarily in a destructive kind of way, but in ways that really like blur distinctions between the self and the other, between like truth and the stories that are being told, between like our desire for unity and our beliefs about how we actually lack unity in this current reality. So yeah, when Neptune changes signs, the whole style of transcendence changes. In Pisces, it came through like suffering and victim mentality, also empathy and spirituality. But yeah, in Aries, it's gonna cast through action and courage and initiation, and also conflict and war and our personal will. That gets like very strongly mystified. That is why this presentation says like the spiritual warrior. So yeah, what we sacrifice, what we glorify, that is going to shift very dramatically. And if we look at what it rules over in mundane astrology, then it's of course about liquids. Neptune is water, ocean, oil, water crisis, floods, torrential rains. And yeah, that is going to be all a very big theme, especially as Neptune is about to be at 0 degrees of Aries. It is the most potent degree. It is on the world point axis. It's something that influences the whole world. So of course, also in mundane astrology, it's about refugees, migrations, borders, invisible threats, and also, yeah, financial bubbles and frauds in regards to war. And that is going to be a very, very big theme, especially what's been going on with Zelensky. We all know that there's some underlying deceit in regards to all of that. Why is he even at Davos? That is like a good question you can ask yourself. There's just a lot of things that aren't right. So Aries, it is a sign of warfare. Metaphorically or literally, it is how borders are maintained and redefined. And anything that is going to threat like the sense of individuality or like our sense of freedom is really going to trigger the Aries instinct to push back very strongly. So there is this desire to reclaim autonomy, but guys, it doesn't have to be violent. you can do that in a very conscious way as well. You can really draw your boundaries without engaging in violence or conflict. And I think that is going to be the biggest lesson of Neptune in Aries here. Because like at the global level, it's going to mark a very big potential shift from this whole globalization. So yeah, Klaus Schwab, you can go. It's not gonna work out for you, and Neptune in Aries is gonna help us in regards to that. So yeah, it has very big pros and cons. It has a shadow side and it has a higher manifestation, just like every planet. Well, of course, Venus, yeah, that is then like overindulgence or like being too superficial with your beauty. But in itself, Venus is not going to have such a negative qualities or tendencies like a Neptune or a Pluto, of course. So it all depends. But definitely there is a shift, a very, very big shift from globalization to autonomy, Aries. So all the institutions and nations, they're gonna rediscover their unique identity, and that is gonna really very strongly result in new political repositioning, new borders. Like if you've watched my 2026 overview that I did together with the beautiful Janine and Jean-Claude, I've said that like the world map, it is gonna shift. Borders are gonna be changing, and that is also with Neptune in the sign of Aries here. There is a very big redefinition of like nationality and also our personal purpose in regards to all of that. So there's going to be less global connectivity through all the open borders and like this one world frameworks, and it's going to be more about establishing or really reclaiming what is setting us apart from the rest of the world. So, of course, we do, however, need to be careful because Saturn and Neptune, when these two come together, it's always been massively linked towards fascism and also communism, especially. It is very strongly tied towards a lot of things happening in Russia and also Iran. That is also why this comes so strongly up right now. Neptune is all is one. Communism, and Saturn structurizes that. That is like the lower manifestation of Saturn. But on the positive side, Saturn in Aries will have a very limiting and restrictive quality towards people who are going to go to war just for the sake of war and just for like glamorizing their own ego and really hurting mass amounts of people. That is going to see or get severe consequences when Saturn is going to ingress into Aries as well. So yeah, a lot of people are freaking out about Saturn in Aries because it is in fall. It doesn't like to be there, but with all the other things we've got going on, I'm actually quite relieved. Even if I'm an Aries, even as an Aries, I'm quite relieved to see Saturn coming into the sign of Aries, because that is really about like becoming mature and responsible within all of our like assertive nature. So I think that is going to put a massive refrain on the war teams, even though it's going to lit up massively here. So also, a lot of people are going to feel very strongly called to opt out of systems that they no longer trust. They're going to be more focused on building self-sufficiency. We're going to see that in regards to personal finances, healthcare, education, definitely, which Iran is about to ingress into Gemini as well. But Neptune in Aries, it's really like the trust and like the blind faith in all of our institutions that is going to erode very, very strongly. This is going to be a very big emphasis on just figuring it out yourselves. No one is going to come to save you anymore. And if you've learned the spiritual lesson of 2020, you're already quite prepared for that. So that is actually good. We're going to see a lot of new communities form as well, because now it's more like I am on my own, and that won't feel so isolating anymore. Now it's going to start to become feeling more empowering over the next couple of years. Yeah, Neptune is going to be here for the next 14 years. We've got a long time to talk about this. So I'm trying to like pick out the most important things, but definitely I will talk more in the next 14 years about this transit. So the shift from Pisces to Aries, really about like Neptune in Pisces, it glamorized suffering and martyrdom and sensitivity getting a little bit out of hand. Now, of course, it also brought a very big surge in all of the spiritual themes, and spirituality actually became pretty mainstream. And I'm actually happy for that, even though there were a lot of false gurus and a lot of people really taking advantage of others trying to go into their spiritual awakening, but Saturn has been giving them consequences as well. So the last 14 years, our identity became very collective and lost in the realms, and people, they were like very encouraged to define themselves through like these shared wounds and these group narratives that were actually one big illusion, and boundaries dissolved very strongly, sometimes in a beautiful way, sometimes in a very destructive kind of way. But yeah, spirituality became very mainstream, but often very ungrounded. Luckily, the last 3 years, Saturn has been helping out with that as well. So, of course, Aries, the first sign, the individual, it is the spark that sets the house on fire. It's where we like emerge in this world and we take our first breath. But the focus here is going to be on asserting ourselves, on defining who we are, to really find our own identity. And it's also going to put an emphasis on like standing in our truth, speaking up, survival instincts becoming sharper. And yeah, of course, Pisces is the energy that dissolves everything. That was like the feeling of we're all stuck in this together. And Aries, this is like this is me energy. And I do not care about where we're all stuck in together. I am a unique individual. I'm going to find what makes me different from you. And Aries can be like the hero. It is the warrior. It is the one who claims their own independence. It just grabs their backpack and they're out there. They're very pioneering, and regardless of what happens in like this vast ocean of everyone else's expectations. So very big focus on reshaping our identity, on rediscovering our purpose, and really on stepping into a more active role within our lives. So less drifting, less being stuck in the clouds, more doing, more asserting, more creating. And like this blind faith, it needs to stop. It is more about becoming like the hero of our own journey. So yeah, Aries, it doesn't have a very reserved tone. It is very direct, fast, it is confrontational, it is very blunt and out there. So what Pisces feels, Aries does. So it's about initiative and effort and personal conviction and courage as well. So instead of like the whole Pisces energy of how does this make us all feel as a collective, now the question becomes like, what are we actually going to be doing about it? And emotional sensitivity, it's all beautiful, but it will no longer be enough. Now action is going to become the proof of your sincerity and the proof of your unconditional love towards another. So claims without the true appropriate behavior, it's going to lose enormous power. Beliefs must become embodied now, and it's going to be a little bit more volatile, but it's going to be way more honest and direct. And I think that is something we all desperately need right now. So the whole Neptunian myth is going to shift from we are all one to now I know who I am and what I can bring to the table. So yeah, this is definitely going to bring in a whole new set of young men who are going to become new heroes in society. And it's going to produce this new world historical figures who embody way more decisive action. That's going to be sometimes in a very noble way. Sometimes it's going to be very disastrously. So leadership, yeah. Religious authority is also becoming very challenged because like beliefs without action is going to lose a lot of credibility. Questions like, yeah, do you practice what you preach? They're gonna become the central theme. And I had someone, yeah, telling me in my DMs about Astrid. I've unfold 500 of these spiritual influencers on Instagram who are actually not practicing what they preach. And I'm like, okay, wow, you're already immersed in the Neptune and Aries transit. And it's something that is going to play out over the entire stage, world stage. And that is going to be very important. Of course, also Aries is war. Neptune is really about like religious themes. So yeah, another whole set of religious wars are about to kick off even more strongly. Yeah, there's like it's going to be a lot of division based upon war and that connected to religious aspects. So do not fall for that trap. Do not fall for the mass formation psychosis that is now going to play out in the whole war themes, because in Pisces it was about spirituality but also health and well-being and everything that happened in 2020. Now in Aries it's going to take on more of a conflictive kind of tone, the whole mass formation psychosis. So yeah, if you're already aware of that, you're not going to fall into that trap and you already set yourself free from that. So do not scare all of that. It is just the planetary energy that is, yeah, manifested here, becoming manifested here on Earth. So a lot of reformations within religion. We're going to see a lot of fractures, a lot of debates, and a lot of redefinitions across religious and especially religious traditions. So a lot of individuals are going to refuse to keep submitting to beliefs that actually contradict their own lived values. And I think that in itself is very, very powerful and very necessary. So, of course, we've already talked a bit about the more lower manifestation, but we're going to see echoes from the Civil War. We've already saw that happening last year during the short ingress on the 30th of March. So yeah, crisis in authority and that connected to identity. It's like who leads and why and on what moral basis. We're entering another such period right now. Unity and separation, they will be renegotiated and authority will get challenged, but something new and more honest will emerge from this. So of course, on a mundane level, it also governs around like these boundaries that are getting crossed in a literal and figurative kind of way. But so there's going to be a very big emphasis on oceans, shipping lanes, undersea cables, oil, water, gas pipelines, smuggling, espionage, hidden systems. And in Aries, these areas are going to become way more militarized and actively disrupted. So it just historically coincides with a lot of naval conflict, attacks on vessels, maritime crisis, and strategic sabotage. And that's also what we already saw happening last year. But it's going to support exploration in a pioneering kind of way. Deep sea research. Oh my God, we're gonna really get to know a lot about what's really happening at the bottoms of our oceans, but also breakthroughs in like understanding the hidden physical systems as well. But definitely we can expect intensified struggles over water, over like resources and how they are being moved across borders. So trade routes and boundaries, they will get challenged. But at its best, Aries here, it inspires a lot of fearlessness, creativity, moral courage, and decisive leadership. So ideals now, they are lived, not just spoken about. So yeah, a whole new cycle for humanity that is about to kick off here, and it's going to be one that demands active participation rather than passive hope. So we're going to maybe look a little bit at the chart here. So yeah, Neptune in Aries at its lower manifestation can glamorize violence and domination and righteous anger, and it can inflate our ego a little bit if it's not healthy. And if you're gonna do that, Neptune is gonna dissolve it. But definitely also a very big emphasis on aggressive cults, and like, yeah, mass aggression are actually a real risk here, especially during the first ingress. So yeah, this is about Neptune, religion, religious extremism, ideological crusadings might arise as well. And some will definitely mistake like personal rage for like a divine mission. And fragile egos, they're gonna seek a lot of validation through conflict and force. So it's gonna be very easy to see who has like a very weak ego. So definitely when Saturn is gonna join the party here by the 14th of February, then it's gonna act as a counterbalance. Saturn is about boundaries, consequences, maturity, responsibility, accountability. And Saturn is going to eventually confront all of the excesses of the more lower manifestations of Neptune and Aries here. So it's going to put in some counterweight. And I'm actually glad to see this. I've been feeling this for quite a few years. I saw so many people freak out about this transit, but I was like, no, Saturn, it's like the Lord of Karma. It's the Lord of consequences. It's the Lord of time. It's the Lord of confronting and giving out karma whenever karma is due. And Saturn here joining Aries is really about maturing and how we assert ourselves. So it's not all doom and gloom. I'm just like mentioning the pros and cons of every transit, and especially Saturn is going to help Neptune out. But this is signifying very big collapses of systems because it happens at the 0 degrees. Also, it happens at the top of the Federal Reserve chart, Federal Reserve Bank chart. It happens at the MC, which means Neptune first is going to dissolve its structures, and then Saturn is going to come in a few weeks later and is going to restructurize the foundation. So definitely there's going to be a lot of chaos and a lot of things coming up with the Federal Reserve Bank and other very important institutions that we have been relying upon for like maybe our entire lives, that is now gonna shift or fall away, and that can create a little bit of panic. Just know that it needs to happen because all of these systems are quite corrupt, and Saturn, Neptune are definitely gonna give us a whole new set of foundations about our institutions, about all of the systems that we have been relying upon. But definitely this is going to be a phase that's going to be a little bit more difficult because we need to get through like the card house that is going to like fall and it's all going to crumble, and we are like now in this transition period for the next 2 years where there's going to be a bit more chaos and reformation and geopolitical change and borders changing, and yeah, it can get quite intense. Just know that this is like a reformation that within a few years, especially after 2032, there's going to be such a big change, and it's necessary. We cannot keep being stuck in this victim narrative and keep believing that they're going to save us and the government is here to protect us and all of that. That is all about to change and shift in a very dramatic way. And a lot of the people who are unaware of this or who are a bit unaware of what actually played out in 2020 up until now, they're going to have a very big shock and they're going to have like the surprise of their lives. And it's important for us to install faith in them and install a sense of trust. We need to really surrender with Neptune. But there's definitely, Aries is fearless. It's about really conquering our fears as well. And maybe we're going to need to help some other people to do that. So yeah, if you feel a little bit overwhelmed, just ask advice to an air or a fire sign, and they're going to be able to help you get through the mess that we're about to see. So what has it brought us? I've already also touched a little bit on that, but yeah, definitely on the 2nd of April, 2 days after the first sneak peek of the ingress from Neptune and Aries, we saw the tariffs kicking off. So very big, assertive economic moves that has been reshaping the whole geopolitical area. We also saw a lot of accidents at sea and heightened patrols around like key shipping lanes, and that is going to become even bigger theme. So think about the Strait of Hormuz, and then we also of course have, I forgot the name, oh my god, the Panama Canal, of course. A lot of shipping disruptions, incidents involving like military ships, and also like undersea infrastructure being highlighted. This is just going to be one of the themes here. I'm not going to go too deep into that. We can talk more about that later. But the most important thing here is that Neptune at 0 degrees, it is actually the world point axis, and it's the very first degree of our zodiac wheel. So it's actually the most important degree of our whole zodiac wheel. This is the very first start. So it is a cardinal sign. It is going to be a global trigger. If you have anything around 0 degrees of Aries, Cancer, Libra, or Capricorn, and you're in the direct line of fire, these points, they behave like a very big broadcast system. When slow-moving planets activate them, events, they feel louder, more public, more collective, and it becomes very historical. And 0 degrees, it is the most potent of them all because it's the very first start of our whole wheel. So when Neptune hits this zone, it doesn't change like the cultural myth. It changes like the whole reality that we're living in once Saturn is going to conjunct that as well. And Aries, it isn't subtle, and it is an initiation around our identity. And when Neptune crosses it, the collective psyche, it like totally begins to reorganize around like this new spiritual storyline. So this is the myth of the individual, the myth of the spiritual warrior, of sovereignty and self-determination. Myths can be noble or they can distort very dangerously. We get a lot of saviors, martyrdoms, crusades, sometimes charismatic mirages as well. And this is going to act a little bit disproportionately, unfortunately, because it correlates with like reality and that being redefined through our own narratives. And there can be like new movements, new enemies, there's a whole new common sense being installed like in the background, because it's like an outer planet. It moves or behaves into the background of like the collective unconsciousness. But we can feel like the old world is ended and the new world is still being rewritten in real time right now, on a very symbolic, mystical level. And the world point axis, it is really where things stop being very personal and it becomes more historic. So yeah, this is actually very, very special. And what can we expect? So yeah, action becomes spiritual. It is where beliefs are measured by our behavior right now, because Aries is about taking action, and it's where people demand a lot of authenticity, not just emotionally, but like, show me who you are by what you are doing and what you are saying. Aries really pushes Neptune out of its passive idealism way more into this active idealism, and that is going to be a very big shift. So the next decade, it is about individuation, and people will feel pushed to stop outsourcing their identity or their ideology to all these institutions, or maybe your partner or your community. Instead, it's more about, what do I want? What am I fighting for? What am I building? We need to learn really how to act without becoming too reactive as well, because how we need to like lead without becoming domineering. Aries can be quite dominant, and also how to like hold all of the boundaries without losing too much of our compassion when Saturn conjuncts Neptune. So yeah, it's really called to live our values in real time and to practice what we preach, because like the ether, Neptune, the unseen realms, they won't reward passive dreaming anymore. Now it's gonna reward the dream that is gonna be moving and where you're gonna be taking action upon. So how we can navigate all of this is really avoid all the savior victim dynamics, and that is going to be such a tough one because we are so wired in them for the past 14 years. We really need to ground spiritual insight with a lot of discernment, balance our intuition with a lot of boundaries, question a lot of the false narratives that they are portraying. And we really need to let go of our old world, but that doesn't mean that we need to give up. It is really more about, slowing down the impulses, becoming more consciously aware of our reactive anger and our tendencies towards like behaving in an immature way. This is really a very big growing up phase for people who are emotionally unaware of their own shadow side. And Neptune in Aries is gonna like reward taking the initiative, but it's gonna really punish unconscious reaction. So yeah, not the era for paralysis. We are coming out of that, but it's also not an era for these blunt decisions that are gonna be totally driven by your adrenaline or your outrage or your pressure. We really need to channel our anger into courage and not in these new crusades. So yeah, the Neptune in Aries, it can definitely blur the line between this righteous courage and destructive rage. And that is something that we need to be very, very mindful about. Anger, it is going to surface, but anger itself, it is not the enemy. Anger is an emotion inside of us that we've learned to suppress from early on. It's not appropriate to behave like an immature child, of course, but anger is a very important emotion, and we've all learned to suppress that because it's not, it's not received well in society. It is actually totally not done. But as an Aries myself, I think anger is very, very handy, and it is very, necessary. We needed to draw our boundaries, and that is now the challenge in itself because Neptune blurs the boundaries. But definitely, whenever you become angry, do not react too much. Just tap into yourself, tap into with your own intuition, and really ask yourself, like, okay, Neptune has been dissolving the boundaries in regards to my anger. Maybe I'm going to need to put up some more structures, some more walls. Maybe I'm going to need to distance myself from this aspect, from this person, from this narrative, from this community, because they are actually not, they're not sharing my beliefs. There's going to be so much anger around not shared ideas and like what have we seen in the past few years. So yeah, it's really important to check in with our own moral compass and not behave in a reactive kind of way. Anger is a very good emotion if you're able to channel it in a healthy way. Go to the gym, go to the sauna, sweat it off, go for a run, for a walk. Just movement will be very important. Movement, heat, all of that is going to help us. Wearing the color red, really, maybe you can just like have a red pillow, and sometimes you can punch it a few times when you feel like things get too tough. But just project your anger on your red pillow and not to the people around you, because I would suggest that you put a focus on really reconnecting both sides. I think both sides have been deceived for the past 14 years. And now that the blindfolds are going to be coming off, that is going to create more upheaval. But let it be a chance to reconnect with one another and to stop fighting over what we feel is truth rather than the actual truth. So yeah. Interesting transits that we're about to see this year. Use anger really as your fuel. Ask yourself what boundaries are being crossed, what values are being violated, what action is actually gonna improve the situation. Protect your courage and also strengthen your boundaries, especially the energetic one. Aries really requires them. Learn how to say no in a polite way, know when to disengage, when to protect your time, body, and attention. And also, not every battle is yours, and not every provocation deserves a response. And yeah, this one is going to really reward people who can assert clean boundaries without becoming aggressive. That is going to be the skill, and practice takes time. Just focus on that. It's also really going to favor active spirituality. So yeah, prayer without action, that is not going to bode well. Belief without embodiment, or like values without behavior, all of that will feel very, very hollow. Spirituality here, it can show up through service, through protecting others you love, advocacy, creativity, courage. It's not just about contemplation and meditation anymore. You can meditate for the children in Africa who are dealing with hunger. Now you're gonna need to fly an airplane and bring or cook them some food, or like really show up and care for them and act in a spiritual way. It's not going to be enough anymore to meditate on the sofa, even though I'm really all for that. I think it's very necessary to really unwind from a little bit of chaos here. Definitely when Uranus is going to ingress into Gemini during the end of April, our beliefs and our conscious brain is getting like massively rewired here during the next 2 years. So yeah, meditation, it is going to be necessary, but after you've done like meditating, you need to like get off the couch and do a spiritual thing, but like by taking action upon it. Feed the starving children, go give them clothes, clean out everything you do not need anymore, share it with others in need, really that kind of thing. Those are going to be the most spiritual people, or they are going to be viewed by society about the real spiritual leaders. That is going to be a shift. Also, protect your imagination, because it can become weaponized right now through yourself, but also by others. Neptune rules over our imagination, and Aries is about weaponizing it. So be careful what you feed your mind. Do not constantly expose yourself to these fear-based medias, because there's gonna be a lot of false news in regards to conflict as well. There's gonna be these apocalyptic narratives, and they're gonna shape your nervous system, and they're also gonna distort your perception. And that is where the true power lies. And the dark arts people, they know it, and they're gonna take advantage of that. So do not fall for that trap. Focus on what inspires you, on what inspires your courage, what inspires your fearlessness, on how you can conquer your fears, on how you can come out of your comfort zone. Neptune, it doesn't care whether a story is true, it's only caring whether it's compelling. So you have to care about the truth, and you need to be willing to find the real truth. So yeah, if certain information comes in through your friendships, through your phone, through work, through whatever media, ask yourself, does it like empower me, or does it leave me feeling fragmented? Like, honestly, I've been listening to one of the 2026 videos a couple of weeks ago from one of my favorite astrologers, and I'm not going to mention his name, but it left me feeling drained. it left me feeling anxious, and it left me feeling very fatigued, very powerless. And I'm like, whoa, it's like, do not feed off of people's energy by scaring them, by inflicting conflict or anything, because that is not going to bode well for you. And Saturn is going to give massive consequences if you do that. So do not feed off of negative energy by stirring the pot in any kind of way, because with these Aries transits, that can be more difficult to divert yourself from that. Like, if you look at the news feed on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, it's all very apocalyptic. It's all fear-based. It's either in regards to, and I can probably not say that word here on YouTube, but it's all based off either... I'm looking for the right word, but I'm going to trigger the algorithm. It's based off of very intense 8th house themes, Scorpio themes, either fear or nakedness. Maybe I can put it like that. And these are just the things that sell. And you're going to see an increase in that. Fear sells, other things sells as well. These are like the things on where people are just very, very attracted towards. And there's going to be big lessons revolving that as well. All of the people who are going to just stir the pot for the sake of stirring the pot, that is not, like with Neptune and Pisces, that was no problem, stirring like the illusions. But with Neptune and Aries and Saturn joining that time is over as well. So, all right, what else can I say? Neptune in Aries, it is not going to promise a lot of comfort or denial or victim mentality. We need to step out of that, but it's going to promise a lot of engagement in like really taking matters into your own hands. We are getting from being lost in the storm to really steering the ship right now. And I think that is a very, very welcoming change. So even though some of the things I've said here during this presentation, they were a little bit more intense, and yes, there is going to be more conflict, and yes, we're going to see echoes from the Civil War, but it is an era right now that is getting kicked off and that is asking us to show up, not perfectly, because the South Node is in Virgo, but courageously, the sign of Aries. So the myth, it is no longer about being saved. It is really about becoming willing to act and to save ourselves. And the next 14 years is really going to teach us that we are way more powerful than we imagined, that we are way more capable of what we've imagined. It is about standing up, speaking our truth, standing in our power, and Aries is about conquering our fears. So yeah, big universal lessons in all of that, but it's gonna set us free in the end. And we first need to go through like a more darker phase before the light is gonna return. But I can see it in astrology very strongly that the light is gonna return. So do not doubt that. Do not lose your faith. Neptune is about faith. It is about surrendering. It is about surrendering to the cosmic vast ocean that we are not being able to fully grasp, to see, to hold, to touch. But on the other hand, what's very beautiful as well is that whenever we see Neptune at the 0 degrees of Aries, the world point axis, there's something very, very public or something that is going to happen that is going to affect the whole world. And Neptune is about the other side. And then Saturn comes in, and Saturn has a very crystallizing aspect to it. So we might see a very big phenomenon, a very spiritual phenomenon. Something might get crystallized from the unseen realms. So we might see a wonder or like a very big omen, or really spirit showing themselves to us, and we are being able to witness them. So yeah, there are definitely also a lot of very exciting aspects to this combination, and I'm going to do a whole Saturn Neptune video on that. And I'm also preparing my eclipse workshop on the 17th of February. We're seeing the eclipse in the sign of Aquarius. 3 days later, we're going to see the Saturn Neptune conjunction, and I'm preparing a whole eclipse webinar for you guys if you would like to tune in for that as well. So yeah, I'm gonna announce that soon, I guess. Yeah, a lot of interesting things are going to play out. And do not listen to people who leave you feeling scared. They're taking advantage. Advantage is Neptune, of your fear. Aries, it's about conquering our fears. It's about building a new foundation and all of that. So we might need to really shift in certain people who are having not such a beneficial effect on us. This is about empowering and not about losing hope, not at all. These next 2 years are going to be so interesting to see what's going to play out. And yeah, I definitely cannot wait to tell you more about all of that. So with that being said, we're gonna start the readings for the 12 signs. So we're gonna start with, of course, my fellow Aries, Sun, Moon, or Rising. And for you, Aries, oh wow, this is gonna be one of the most profound identity shifts that you're gonna experience in your lifetime. It's not subtle because the first house, of course, it governs you, your sense of self, your physical presence, and also your instincts. It's about your personality and the way how you meet the world on a daily basis. So Neptune ingressing here, it moves the very definition of who you are, and that is going to begin to soften very strongly, and it's going to dissolve a part of your identity, and then it's going to reshape it over a long period of time. So it works very slowly and quietly, maybe more in the background, but honestly, as an Aries myself, I've really noticed my psychic senses and awareness being heightened in a very strong way, actually. So you can definitely notice that as well. If you're a very intuitive person, Neptune now is going to infuse all of that even more strongly. So you might not immediately notice what's happening, but over the years and over the next 14 years, your identity is definitely becoming more fluid, less rigid, and less tied to all of these fixed labels or to this fixed view of people and how they see you. And Aries, your instinct, it defines oneself very clearly. This is who I am, this is what I want. And it's going to start to give way to like a more intuitive approach to life. So yeah, you're gonna maybe feel less certain about who you're becoming. Other people are definitely gonna notice a shift in your aura and in your unseen field that preserves the whole body. And Neptune, it carries a very mystical quality, and you're gonna start noticing that people are gonna start to increasingly project wisdom, insight, and even savior-like qualities onto you. And you need to be a little bit mindful about that. Others are gonna look for guidance, maybe a bit more reassurance. Maybe they're gonna share or want to know your perspective on certain things, and you might be the one who is going to give very wise advice, and you're going to feel like, why cannot give myself the same advice? That is definitely going to be some kind of topic. Might be a little bit confusing at first, because you're going to feel uncertain about yourself, and I actually think that is a positive quality. Becoming sometimes, Aries, it is very confident, very self-assured, it is very honest, direct, and blunt. And now Neptune's qualities come in and it gets more softened, and you're going to be more reflective in nature, and you're going to be looking at your reactive tendencies, because let's be honest, between you and I, as an Aries, we can be quite feisty. We can go from 0 to 100 real quick. And we're going to notice whenever Neptune and also Saturn comes in that our reactive tendencies are becoming like under some kind of a magnifying glass. And it's about maturing and growing up and be responsible in our reactions to other people, especially when Saturn joins here. So definitely you're learning to maybe live in uncertainty, not really knowing where you're headed. And others are going to be drawn to you, how you carry yourself, and how confident you are. So it's a little bit of a paradox. Neptune is really about the paradoxes in lives. But definitely creativity, spirituality, compassion, imagination, sensitivity, your intuition, they're all going to become way more prominent parts in how you express yourself. So if you're already working in the healing fields, or if you are an artist, or already are very immersed within spiritual practices, then all of that is becoming way more prominent in your life. So also, all of your set goals and your dreams, they might shift from these external achievements more towards something that can feel more soulful or more inspired. Be careful not to get lost inside of your head. Neptune rules over the head. Aries rules over the head, and Neptune can make us feel a little bit confused in our head. But it's going to be important to come out of our headspace, to move through it, to really embody a lot of movement in our spiritual practices, and that is going to help to ground us as well. So a new creative hobby, new spiritual interests, new fascinations, that is all gonna like rewire your identity, and your current identity is gonna fade, not because that was wrong or a mistake, but because now you're at a new stage of your evolutionary journey. And yeah, it's really also a very big important lesson here involves projection from others, but also from yourselves. Some people are going to totally idolize you, and that might be a little bit confusing. And others are not going to be seeing you for who you truly are. So that is something to be mindful of as well. On the flip side, you can also idolize other people. Neptune really blurs boundaries, and without awareness, it can lead to disappointment or deception for sure. So be mindful about that. Also take care of your health. If you're in Aries rising, Neptune can create a little bit of fog around our body and also our body image. Maybe you're not going to see yourself clearly, or you're not going to see yourself for the beautiful person that you are, because Neptune casts a veil. On the other side, you can look at yourself way more spiritual than you actually are. So it depends. It works on both sides. So also boundaries. Oh my God, this is going to become so important. Neptune dissolves the boundaries. That's also why I said be careful with your health, especially when Neptune is on top of your rising sign. You're going to get that through the next 14 years on your sun, moon, or rising. That is going to become very important. There can be some vague symptoms that are undiagnosable, and they are coming forth from like your spiritual body, or some holes or leaks within your auratic, like your aura or your field around you, your cosmic field, and maybe something needs to be healed inside of that. And Neptune is going to help you massively in regards to that as well. But also a big emphasis on omens and synchronicities, chance meetings, unexpected opportunities, or like these intuitive flashes that feel very divinely guided. Pay attention to these, to symbols, to recurring themes, and to maybe small little symbols that are actually helping you on your evolutionary journey here. So stay curious. Treat your identity as like an evolving process over the next 14 years. Track your patterns, track your intuition. You can journal. You can really recognize long-term themes. And yeah, healing, something in regards to that. And also strengthen your boundaries, and also avoid idolizing people or a new path too quickly, because the reality is going to reveal itself over time. You're going to have so much inspiration as well. And you also need to really trust the divine timing. The wisdom of Neptune, it unfolds slowly, but what it builds is going to be way more deeply aligned with your soul. So this is really about reinventing yourself in an intuitive and compassionate kind of way. Very long initiation into feeling more inspired, imaginative, and spiritually attuned to the unseen realms. This is really about realignment and resonance as well. So allow the journey to unfold without demanding certainty. The more that this transit can become, the more you're going to surrender to this transit, the more you're going to look back upon it as like one of the most meaningful chapters of your life. So more on that soon, whenever Saturn is going to ingress in your sign as well. But you are up for a very, very big change, my dear Aries. So I wish you a lot of good luck. We have Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Rising. So Neptune is going to ingress into your 12th house. Neptune likes to be in the 12th house. Unfortunately, it doesn't really like to be in Aries. But the fact that it's in your 12th house, that is actually very positive. It is the most subtle, private, and psychological part of the chart. It also resembles final endings. It's about the subconscious, your intuition, your dreams, solitude, hidden patterns, emotional conditioning, and it's really about your spiritual life and your spirit guides are found within the 12th house. So all of Neptune's work is going to happen very quietly. It's beneath the surface, it's behind the veil, and it's often outside of our conscious awareness here, but it can be profoundly inspirational. So there's going to be a dramatic increase in your intuition and in your spiritual sensitivity. Your inner world is becoming way more vivid, way more alive. Your dreams are very symbolic, meaningful. You can even start to lucid dreaming or like astral projection, and all of that are become very, very big themes in your life. So engage with them, lean into the spiritual practices. They're going to help you massively. And also, you're going to receive guidance through your dreams, flashes of insight, foresight, intuitive knowing. It's all going to like override your logic senses. Your imagination is going to deepen. And the subconscious mind in the 12th, it also becomes a very powerful source of information. And the 12th house is also about final endings. Very strong transit for spiritual practices, meditation, yoga, breathwork, energy work, tarot, astrology, soul retrieval work, past life exploration, so regression therapy. All of that is gonna be more accessible. Neptune really dissolves your inner boundaries and is going to allow you to access all of the parts within yourself that were previously hidden or unreachable. So yeah, you're going to feel so inspired. You can bump into a new muse, and especially when you work behind the scenes or in solitude, Neptune here can really help you move beyond all of your current normal realities, and it's going to allow your creativity to flow in a very intuitive way. You're going to be able to tap into the collective unconscious and do not carry the weight of the collective unconsciousness on your shoulders. Otherwise, this is going to be a very difficult transit to deal with. But definitely, you're going to resonate so deeply with others who are going to also become more spiritually inclined, and it's also going to increase your need for solitude, rest, and retreat and withdrawal. And you're going to crave more space alone, time alone, to really process all of the unconscious emotions. And you need to take more time to recharge. If you feel more sleepy, if you feel like you need more rest, give in to that, listen to that, create your own spiritual corner inside of your house. You need to also be able to give yourself space to heal and do not force it too strongly. This is really like a very big purifier of the subconscious. All of the repressed memories and limiting beliefs are going to resurface, and it's going to show you where you've been blocking or sabotaging yourself. It's to be acknowledged and then later released. And that can really be helpful through going to therapy or like meditation. All of that is going to really help in your awareness and softness. And it's about surrender here. So with it being in the sign of Aries, it's definitely about these hidden themes around suppressed anger and assertion, and you're gonna be confronted with like the places where you've avoided conflict, where you've minimized your own needs, and this is a big opportunity to heal those patterns by actually redefining what healthy assertion means for you on a deeper level, and how your upbringing shaped your subconscious, and maybe avoiding that because you are a peacekeeper, you're a Taurus, you're ruled by Venus. So yeah, also we see the stellium in the 10th house in Aquarius, a lot of breakthroughs at work right now. So yeah, okay, but I'm not here about the Aquarius stellium. If you want to know more about that, I've also made a video about that as well. You can check that out if you want to. And also know that Neptune in the 12th, they can really blur lines around your health and also in regards to escapism. You need to work on your mental health and purge a lot of self-sabotaging behavior, and you're gonna feel very much healed by that. Do not over idealize solitude or withdrawal. It can be very nourishing to take some time off, but do not disappear from your responsibilities. So yeah, really listen to your dreams, your intuition, and the subtle inner signals. Use therapy or create like a regular intentional time of solitude without the complete withdrawal of society. And also practice gentle boundaries, definitely in regards to your energy levels. And just know that this is a very big spiritual awakening, and it's also gonna forge a whole inner liberation. It's clearing out a lot of the stuff from the past, so just let that happen naturally. And I wish you good luck, my dear Taurus. You have Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Rising. So Neptune is going to ingress into Aries in your 11th house. That is a part of the chart that is connected to friends, your social sphere, your networks, communities, and the role that you play within society. So it's the house of how you connect with and what you're like striving towards in regards to big groups of people. And this area is going to become more fluid, more idealistic, and it's about like vision driven in the sign of Aries. So stronger longing to belong to a certain group, and it's also about connecting with like-minded people who have a very deep spiritual side, and they're going to help you move through this as well. They're going to, yeah, friendships are going to feel way more spiritually charged, and you're going to be very drawn to people who share the same strong ideals and who share the same imagination as yourself. But do not over idealize certain communities, but definitely you're going to feel pulled towards like visionary aspects, creative, spiritual, or circles that are really, really oriented on selfless acts that benefit society in the 11th house. You can do that through politics, through entrepreneurship, definitely, yeah, embodying a more spiritual approach within your online communities as well. And yeah, social spaces, you're gonna notice like an uptick in conversations about the meaning of life and the kind of world we're living in right now. But definitely what you once wanted to achieve in a social way is maybe no longer gonna feel totally aligned. This is a realignment of what you're feeling called to benefit towards society. So also your idea of success now, it's way less about status and it's way more about impact with Neptune wrapping up its transit through your 10th house. So be careful about drawing boundaries within groups of people as well. And don't become like too self-sacrificing or too... Do not play like the role of the martyr in groups of people. Yeah, it's important to check in with yourself, like, is this really nourishing me? Is this beneficial to my spiritual to my spiritual evolutionary process? Does it really nourish my soul? So yeah, really about also a little bit maybe confusing or deceptive group dynamics. That is something to be mindful of, and also know that like the disillusionment that you're going to have with certain friendships, it's going to help you to understand what you truly believe in and where you truly belong. So you're going to also receive more synchronicities whenever you are in big groups of people. So really go out and connect. You're going to really bounce into people who can open up doors, and it's going to be very big divine timing. So introduce yourself to new networks, and also pay attention to like your intuitive nudges around like invitations and gatherings and your whole social sphere. If you feel attracted to certain friends or new people, there is a very big reason for that. So yeah, stay open to new communities. Trust your intuition when meeting new people or joining new groups, and also watch for this like blurred boundaries or pressure to like conform to like the hive mind thinking. You're here to mystify that in the next 14 years. And also don't let disillusionment close your heart to new connections, definitely in regards to friendships. Really reimagine your place within the collective. And that is really going to help you during the long term. So good luck, my dear Gemini. We have Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising for you. Neptune is going to ingress and Aries into your 10th house. So this is the most visible part of the chart. Whatever happens in the 10th is very publicly known. It is about your career, vocation, reputation, your ambition, your public roles, your leadership, what you're going to leave behind. So your legacy. So actually, it's what you're known for and what you want to leave behind in the world. So Neptune in the 10th can dissolve a certain career. Whenever it's no longer aligned with your purpose or with your evolving spiritual journey, then something might shift in that. But definitely, your career can become way more intuitive. Your journey may feel like a series of turns or maybe detours, or maybe it's going to become a little bit more unclear, but it's divine timing. Just trust the process, because the 10th house, it can feel a little bit confusing, and it's also going to make a square towards your sun, moon, or rising, and that can be an especially confusing time for you. So surrender, because you're going to feel like a very big increase that you want to work, but in a very deeply meaningful way. And everything that's misaligned, that is going to become very hard to tolerate. So yeah, who are you actually becoming through what you do in your career area? So yeah, your public image is also going to become maybe more fluid or idealized. People are going to project a lot of things onto you. They're going to see you as very inspiring, maybe a visionary within the job, maybe very compassionate as well. And they're not going to be able to see what's like really happening inside, deep inside of yourself. So that can feel confusing. But also know that, yeah, you might also found that you found your dream job, and that can be a disappointment. So if you bump into new opportunities in regards to your job, if it feels too good to be true, it probably is. That is Neptune causing some disillusionment, and it's actually teaching you something very essential. Each role that you embody is going to like refine your understanding of what truly fits with your purpose. So yeah, it's also going to awaken compassionate leadership. If you already work in the artistic fields or the creative fields or the healing fields, then you're going to find out that you are here to guide others in a very sensitive, intuitive kind of way. So, and also because the Aries is a very strong sign about independence. Some of you are probably going to want to become self-employed, probably within the mystical field. If you want to do that, it is definitely a very beautiful opportunity for you to do that. Whenever Saturn comes in, it can crystallize new foundations within your self-employment. The 10th house also deals with authority and the government. there can be some deception or confrontation or, yeah, tough, difficult things going on with the government, your father, your boss. Maybe they're going to behave a little bit more unclear. So yeah, what does success mean to you? Is it status? Is it security? Is it freedom? Is it contribution? Is it emotional fulfillment, creative expression? You're gonna learn more about that. So yeah, stay open to unexpected opportunities. And if something gets dissolved within your career area, just know that Neptune is doing its job, and treat them as like a course correction whenever that happens. And also really use your intuition as like a compass for professional choices. And also you need to lead and show up with a lot of empathy and integrity. That is going to be important. And be careful about like a deceptive boss or someone in an authority position over you who can maybe dissolve some of the structures, or is maybe not going to be completely honest to you. This is really like realignment of your vocation, and your ambition becomes way more soulful. So yeah, this is a very interesting energy in Cancer. So let me know how that plays out. So we have Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. For you, Neptune is going to ingress into the 9th house. And that is a very expansive transit, very growth-oriented area of your chart. It is about your worldview, your beliefs, higher knowledge, philosophy, spirituality, religion, publishing, announcements, teaching, and actually the search for meaning in life. So what you believe is going to become possible. That is a strong influence here. So yeah, this is actually a good placement for Neptune. The Neptune, in the 9th house, it is about, yeah, it thrives on openness and open-mindedness and exploration, and just like, yeah, really enhancing or widening your view on the world. So your belief system is going to become way more fluid and more flexible, more nuanced, and all the rigid thinking patterns are going to be dissolved by Neptune. So yeah, it is being able to understand multiple perspectives and looking at left and wrong and right and good and like and false, and being able to really look at both sides and seeing that there are possible mistakes in both sides and how to bridge the gap within that. It is the house of higher knowledge. So your sense of your own potential is going to expand, and all the current limits you have once accepted or wired within your belief system, they're going to get dissolved. So this is about leading straight to like a new philosophy or a new belief system. And it's also gonna like you're gonna become so deeply interested in maybe one particular spiritual subject. You're gonna embark on a whole new spiritual path, and then if you maybe make a long distance journey, which is also part of the 9th, your whole worldview can shift. So yeah, each phase over the next 14 years is going to add a lot of depth and wisdom and context to your understanding and your view on the world. So engage in new philosophies, engage in new spiritual practicisms. You can even dive into a whole new religion, mysticism, cultural studies. So yeah, if you're already in like the healing fields, or like if you read books, write books, if you're studying, teaching, or publishing, that is gonna become a very new important way of like expressing all the things that you're learning and are implementing within your belief system. So also the 9th, long distance travel, very strongly emphasized here, but it also could mean like traveling within your study books and really gaining a lot of knowledge. And all the time that you spend abroad, or when you engage with people who have different cultural background than your own, that is going to be beneficial towards your belief system. So if you feel called to a certain country, listen to that. They are guiding you here from the other realms. You're gonna maybe need to learn a few lessons there abroad, and they're gonna help you. So the journey, it is not about the destination. It is going to be an ongoing 14-year spiritual journey that you are going to be embarking on right now. So also, Neptune, it's going to teach you through experience and all the gained knowledge that comes from the journey. That is all going to like need to take its time in order to get like rewired in your belief system. But if you are already a teacher or a mentor, that is very positive. It's going to enhance your intuitive side on that level, and you might also become very inspiring to other people. With your belief systems, with your philosophy, people are going to ask you to guide them. So be sure not to tap into the more deceptive qualities, but really embody like the spiritual warrior within your teachings or within your guru mindset. So you're definitely going to be asked to share what you've learned. You can make a very big announcement. You can publish a book, a spiritual book. All of these things can become very deeply fulfilling. So legal matters are also part of the ninth house. If legal issues arise, make sure that everything is clear, because with Neptune, there can be like a distortion of the truth here. So yeah, allow your beliefs to really evolve through experience. And if things are not certain, you need to surrender to them. But definitely travel, study, and explore the world, and really share what you learn through teaching or through some kind of creative expression here. And you also need to ground all of these big ideas with the practical notion underneath all of it, and avoid treating one specific path as like the final truth, because there are going to be a lot of final truths here emerging at once, and you're going to need to be learning to look at all the different sides, and you're going to succeed at that. So this is a very beautiful, expansive transit. So this invites you to see more, understand more, believe in more. Your belief system is getting totally infused with a lot of Neptunian qualities. So make sure you tap into the right sources whenever you engage in learning, because Neptune can distort the truth from time to time. So I wish you good luck, my dear Leo. We have Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. So Neptune is finally going to leave your 7th house and is going to ingress into Aries in your 8th. So this is the most intense house. It's very deep, psychological. It is about financial, energetic, emotional, psychological entanglements with other people. So this is a very mystical, occult house. So Neptune is going to operate very, very well in this house, but it is also about shared resources. So think about money, debt, taxes, inheritances, financial entanglements, everything you share with another person. That is becoming maybe a little bit dissolved with Neptune here. But it's also the house of emotional intimacy, your energetic exchanges with other people. It's about trust and vulnerability, deep psychological soul bonding, power dynamics, and also about transformation. So with Neptune here, it is a very sensitive planet. So all of these mystical, occult things are going to really increase your sensitivity towards them. You're going to be very able to easily read between the lines here, and other people's motivations, and like what's going on inside with other people. You're going to pick up easily on moods, on their motives, on their deep psychological pain, on their trauma. It can be blissful if you are like a therapist or if you already work within the healing fields, but you're going to get a very big lesson in boundaries. Neptune is going to dissolve all the boundaries of the mystical, occult things here in the 8th house. So even though it's very positive that it leaves the 7th, and you're a block that has been definitely with Saturn in the 7th, a block on partnerships is going to be lifted right now. So there can be a whole new thing opening up in the realms of relationships, definitely also with the North Node there now. So yeah, as of the middle of February, you might notice a very, very big shift in your 7th house. And that is an angular house, so it was a very heavy duty, karmic duty to carry, especially the last 3 years. But The 8, it is other people state of emotional well-being is going to affect you so much. And if someone is constantly nagging and just like, as I call it in Dutch, just like turning, like emptying their bucket on side of your head, because they're gonna feel like you're emotionally very receptive towards their pain and their sorrow, you're gonna need to learn how to draw boundaries. Like, I'm already feeling it right now. Whenever I enter a room as a Virgo rising, with I'm an Aries as well, so there's like double emphasis here at Neptune. But I feel so claimed sometimes whenever I enter specific rooms, whether it's with friends, with family, doesn't matter where exactly, but I feel so claimed. I feel like sometimes with also my Pisces stellium on top of all the rest, that people really ventilate all of the time. And sometimes I feel like, how do you say it? It's like they do not care about my emotional well-being as much as they care about their own emotional well-being. And if it's like the emotional and psychological state of others are affecting the Virgo risings more than usual from now on, with Neptune in the 8th house. If someone is constantly venting their misery and yeah, if they're using you as like the occult master, or like the occult master is maybe not the right word, but like if they use you as like a psychologist, like or a therapist, then that's going to become a very heavy weight to carry. So I'm already warning you right now. You need to draw boundaries with people who are draining your energy. And unfortunately, when you're so sensitive, that can become quite a lot of people, honestly. So yeah, your nervous system is gonna become it's gonna signal to you whenever things feel too overwhelming. On the other side, it works both ways. Do not trauma dump all of the time on other people, because they're gonna become fed up with you. And with Saturn ingressing in the 8 as well, you're gonna feel pretty lonely if you do that. So be mindful of that. If you need a therapist, you can go find one. It's this amazing time to work through unconscious barriers here. If you work with a therapist, it can really give you very big breakthroughs. And I think a lot of Virgo risings are going to need that. Not because there's something wrong with you, but because you're going to become even more sensitive, and it's going to become a lot to carry, honestly. So yeah, do not put shame around wanting to talk to someone. Just like pay someone to ventilate. And if people are trauma dumping too much on you, you can tell them like, this is a good therapist, you can pay them to go ventilate, and it's gonna save you a lot of trouble and misery. It's not your job to become the martyr of other people's misery and pain. It's just something inside of the ether that is becoming magnified right now, where people are going to feel attracted towards you, because they feel like you have some kind of mystical power that is like cleansing or healing their emotional pain. But do not turn into a martyr. That is my biggest advice here for you. So yeah, energy exchange is very important. If you feel drained after certain conversations, it might be well to take a little bit of a step back. And I'm not saying you need to throw out everyone who's draining you, because you're going to feel lonely about that, but definitely take enough time to recharge and say to them, like, today I do not have a lot of space to hold for you, but maybe tomorrow or next week I will be able to do that. And make sure the give and take axis is becoming balanced. And people can be deceitful with Neptune in the 8. Definitely, if it's about shared finances or like shared deep emotional, psychological trauma entanglement, you need to be careful not to get used for your occult powers. Don't let them drain that. That is the most important thing here. So The goal is about like codependence, interdependence, and balancing that out. And yeah, you need to heal your trust issues and your vulnerability, and all of that is becoming way more spiritual, and you're going to become way more intuitive towards those matters as well. And yeah, you connect very deeply without losing yourself. That is going to be the challenge here. But apart from that, intuition, divination, energy work, if you are an energy healer, oh my God, you're going to be able to rinse the energy in such a strong way. Yeah, if you are like a master at energy healing, wow, this is like putting you in a higher position. The universe is like giving you like permission to heal deeper layers within your healing fields. So yeah. Also, the eight, yeah. This is really about, yeah, occult and esoteric topics as well. And you're gonna become very good at sensing whether it's truth or not. Trust your intuition. You're gonna find a missing piece. You're gonna know something before you can prove it. So yeah, you will really learn how to validate your instincts without like all the real evidence. So yeah, you're gonna get a lot of confirmations from the other sides, from your deceased ancestors as well. The eighth house is the house of people who are crossed over, so they're gonna help you in all of these themes, and you can really connect with them on a way deeper level. So yeah, this is actually really a very profound transit here. Be careful about big investments. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. So I'm already warning you. Be careful about your partner handling your finances. Make sure everything is well spoken about before you make big investments, and also you need to have clarity surrounding it. If you have doubts about big investments, trust your gut feeling. Neptune can dissolve a lot of things and a lot of shared finances within the eighth house, and with Saturn coming in as well, that is like a block that is being formed upon people helping you with their finances. So maybe you're going to have to learn to get a little bit comfortable with debt, with getting a loan, with like restructuring your mortgage, inheritances. All of that can become very karmic dealings that are about to unfold here. So definitely, this is about deep traumatic experience that are getting healed here with Neptune, but also know that it's gonna bring up a lot of buried memories and a lot of patterns and a lot of past entanglements. Maybe you thought you're already healed in those things, and now something is gonna get triggered in that, and it's gonna be brought up again so that you can purge and cleanse and heal it with Neptune. So yeah, very interesting transit. Strengthen your energetic boundaries. That is going to be most important. Protect your time, protect your energy. Use your body and listen to the signals that it's sending you. If you feel drained by certain places, environments, people's, family, you might need to, in a very spiritual way, just draw some boundaries. And energy cleansing, energy healing. If you are in energy healing, it's going to be extra important right now to have someone who cleanses your energy as well. Or maybe you're going to notice for the first time that you're going to need some extra help in regards to that. And that is okay. It is not something to be ashamed for. It is just Neptune really heightening your sensitivity. So yeah, trust your intuition, but really verify everything when stakes are high in regards to money, contracts, commitments, sexual bonding as well. This is really about emotional purification and a very big transformation here. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting for you, my dear Virgo. So let me know what happens, and I wish you a lot of good luck with this special transit. We have Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising. So Libra, this one is going to activate your seventh house. And if you want to have some key advice, you might need to consult Virgo rising, who has been going through Neptune and Saturn in the seventh house for quite some time. They can help you navigate for sure. So The seventh is about partnerships, marriage, dating, also business partnerships, but especially on very close one-on-one bonds. So it's how you relate to other people. And with Neptune here, it's going to become way more fluid. You're going to maybe idolize certain partners. You're becoming more open emotionally and spiritually charged over the next 14 years. But be careful about like rose-colored glasses in marriage. There is like a factor of romanticization here, and you're going to see the best in people. You're gonna put partners on a pedestal, and you're gonna feel pulled into connections that feel very destined, very fated, very spiritual, very magical. But be careful, because it's gonna draw Neptunian people in your life. They can be very creative, very spiritual, very poetic, very dreamy, but mostly emotionally complex. So there can be very beautiful, faded soul bonds or soul contracts coming in, but be careful about seeing them for who they really are. If they are struggling with substance abuse, you need to cancel them immediately, because they're going to be a very big pain in your ass the next 14 years. They can become draining, they can become deceptive, they can want, they probably are going to want to try to hide their substance abuse or their drinking, or definitely if they have a problem with alcohol, do not start the relationship. Just save yourself. But maybe some of you have a soul contract, and maybe you're going to be feeling very faded or called to help this person, but be careful not losing yourself in the process, because you're already a Libra. You already neglect your own needs to keep the peace and the harmony with other people, and Neptune is going to make that more complex. So yeah, you may not always know where you stand with other people as well. They can be very fluid, very yes or no, and they can shift, and they can be unsure, they can be chaotic, they can confuse you. So yeah, do not like make assumptions, because Neptune is going to open a door through to a new connection, but it doesn't mean that like this connection is your twin flame. Even it can feel like that, and I'm even having difficulties with like the whole concept of twin flame, even though I've looked into that. But I feel like with the last 14 years, especially with Neptune and Pisces, that toxic bonds were labeled as a twin flame connection, and it's also something that we need to step out of. And I'm not saying that twin flames do not exist. I'm just saying that they've been labeled pretty wrong over the past few years. But this is about idealization, codependencies, boundaries that are becoming very porous, and you cannot ignore the red flags here, because you feel like a spiritual bond with the other person. And also, if you're already in a solid relationship, it can definitely deepen existing commitments, but it can definitely bring more compassion and emotional closeness and creativity and shared spiritual growth, and a sense of like, we lived together outside this practical, how do you say it, like this Saturnian realm of reality. We like live beyond that for multiple lifetimes. There can definitely be such a projection going on from both sides. So yeah, people may project their fantasies and their ideals onto you, and you might do the same. So you might project your good intentions onto people who actually haven't earned your trust. So that is something that you need to be mindful for, and that's going to be a lesson for you. So yeah, the seventh is also in regards to business partnerships, and it's also in regards to signing contracts. So be careful in business partnerships. It might be wise to do a synastry or composite reading if you want to include a new partnership in your life, whether that's romantic or business wise. It would be wise to look at your synastry aspects. So yeah, you can always give me a call for that. I'm going to implement them quite soon in my list of offerings and readings. So self-sacrifice in order to keep the peace. Be careful about that as well. You often avoid conflicts, but it's about compassionate assertion and not harshness, not fighting, but it's about clear set boundaries. And luckily, Saturn is going to help you with that. But you can enjoy romance and close one-on-one bond, but do not confuse intensity with the truth. Watch for projection, trust your intuition, especially when something feels off or something feels confusing. Definitely also in business context. So, but definitely it can bring you a more soulful, more meaningful relationship than you like ever experienced before. But it's about discernment without disconnection, and you're gonna learn how to balance that out. So, good luck, my dear Libra. We have Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising. So, my dear Scorpio, Neptune is going to ingress in Aries, and for you, that's going to happen in your sixth house. This is the part of the chart that is really about your daily routines, your work habits, your workspace, your responsibilities, your health and well being as well, and the movements of like your everyday life and the environments that you operate within all of that. So, you're gonna definitely notice increased awareness towards your health. So increased physical and environmental sensitivity. Yeah, that's really a big deal here. Your body is gonna really send you a lot of subtle messages, like minor inconveniences or like minor illnesses, fatigue, inflammation, moments of like, oh, I'm gonna get sick, and listen to that. Neptune, it actually works indirectly, so it can feel a little bit vague or like hard to pin down, but it's pointing towards like the underlying causes of all of it, and that is stress, diet, sleep, your work conditions, and the emotional overload that you've been dealing with on a daily basis. And something might need to get dissolved in that in order for you to have a good health. So also be careful, because in the sixth house we find allergies also to food. Of course, that also belongs partly to the second house, but the sixth house is about our health. And you can discover that suddenly you're gluten intolerant. Suddenly you're struggling with lactose, which is found in like cheese and milk and all of that. So yeah, you might need to leave something out of your diet in order to restore your health. And maybe with fixing a small change, or like making of a small change, is going to fix your health. So maybe you're going to need to give up something that you like eating in order for you to rebalance everything out in the sixth house. So also Neptune in the sixth can give very vague symptoms that are very hard to diagnose. So you might need to get a second opinion. Do not freak out. Neptune is also about like holistic medicine, holistic treatment, maybe for headaches, as it rules over Aries. Aries rules over the head. So maybe you're gonna need to have some more alternative approaches. Also, breathwork can be very beneficial, and meditation, and you need to like balance out the body, mind, and the soul here. It's opposite the 12th house. It is squaring the third house. So yeah, realigning body, mind, and soul, and it's going to be beneficial for you, my dear Scorpio, because this is with Saturn about to ingress in the sixth house as well. You need to be very careful about your health. Especially if you've already been dealing with like chronic issues, Saturn rules over chronic conditions, and Saturn in the sixth can also give a lot of workload, and like having to restructure your workspace of the service that you provide within your daily routine. So yeah, Saturn and Neptune in the sixth, they are not to mess with actually. So it's going to reshape your relationship to your daily routine, and needs to be more spiritual, maybe more fluid, flexible. It needs to really like support your daily rhythm. All of the rigid schedules, everything that feels draining, it needs to go. This is really about like trying new ways of like organizing your time. You need to blend all of the set structures with more of your intuition and empathy as well. And yeah, your daily efforts, they need to feel meaningful. Otherwise, you're gonna get a burnout. So if you feel disconnected from your purpose, or if your job feels draining, you're gonna experience a lot of brain fog, a lot of headaches, a lot of scattered energy. Because yeah, it is really about dissolving all of the work structures and putting in a whole new foundation. So if you're already very serious service oriented, if you already work in the healing arts, if you already like having a creative job, then all of that is getting massively heightened here. So, and with Aries, it's also about like creating new opportunities for yourself, and maybe you need to turn in a very big skill into like something that makes you able to earn money. Maybe a passion project is going to turn into something very beneficial over the long term, because they are coming out of the fifth into the sixth. So they are completing everything in regards to passion projects, and now you can start to implement that on a daily basis. It can also work like that. Be careful about coworkers. Definitely, if they are already a little bit in denial, or if you have colleagues that are really in tune with the victim narrative and the victim mindset, you need to like maybe distance yourself a little bit from that. It can be a lot to carry. So also Saturn in the sixth can give problems with blood circulation or congestion, or like Saturn limits and refrains with Aries is the blood. And the best thing you can do right now is implement a new daily routine where you also engage with like physical activity. Saturn in Aries is about like strengthening our muscles, letting the circulation flow. And if you look into congestion and try to avoid that, it's going to be very beneficial for getting like Neptune in the sixth in Aries. It can give like headaches or brain fogs, and you need to like really keep the blood flowing. And Saturn here can refrain that a little bit. So work out, sweat it off, go to the gym, implement a new gym routine, make yourself tough, make yourself strong. It's going to be very beneficial, and it's going to help you avoid maybe potential health stuff here with these two in the sixth. So yeah, really experiment with new routines. Let go of these forced rigid systems. Set clear boundaries at work to prevent like burnout or drained energy. And yeah, how you live each day really matters as much as what you achieve. And you really need to treat your body, time, energy, and your work with a lot of compassion, and you need to cancel the pressure. It's going to improve your well-being and your sense of purpose. So good luck, my dear Scorpio. We have Sagittarius and Moon or Rising. So for you, my dear Sagittarius, Neptune is going to ingress into the fifth house. And this is actually the most joyful house of all. It's about expressive ideas. It rules over creativity, pleasure, hobbies, romance, self-expression, passion projects. Also your children, things that make your heart sing within the fifth house. So Neptune here, this part is about idealizing, becoming inspired, very emotional, rich, and a lot of spirituality is being infused within the fifth house themes. So yeah, this is really about inspiration. If you're already a very creative soul, then it can be that there's a new person, a new project, a new muse that maybe can enter your life, in which you are gonna feel so inspired about it. But also, yeah, maybe it's also about like new forms of expression and them becoming more spiritual as well. So yeah, it's really about discovering who you are through your creative exploration. And Neptune works actually beautiful here. You're gonna find out some new interests, new hobbies, and new activities that are gonna light you up. And the fact that Neptune is gonna trine your Sun, Moon, or Rising over the next 14 years. Oh my God, this is so positive. Neptune is also very fluid. So yeah, maybe some old hobbies are gonna be dissolved by Neptune, but this is definitely wanting to bring new spiritual joy in return. So yeah, Also, do not assume that Neptune is gonna like pull you into something for reasons that might not be obvious at first. Can be something very random that is then gonna lead towards you being more passionate about something, a broader understanding, a more meaningful creative direction, and the value really lies in like the experience itself. And all of that is going to shift massively. If you are an artist, oh wow, this is such beautiful energy. And even within love, the fifth house also rules over love and dating. So you might bump into someone that you're like idealizing a lot. Be careful about rose colored glasses in love and dating. You might not see the person for who they actually are. You can make them better. You can put them on a pedestal. You can be so in love that you're not being able to see the truth. But actually, if it's someone with like good intentions, then that can be actually rather positive, because how beautiful isn't it to really look at someone and not being able to see their flaws and just accepting them and loving them unconditionally. Unfortunately, if Neptune in your own chart makes squares to other planets, especially for example Venus, then you're gonna be attracted, or someone is gonna be attracted to you who is not gonna have the best intentions and might even be a little bit deceitful. So you need to really look at your own chart to get the right interpretation, of course. So also art. If you are someone who creates art, then wow, that's gonna become way more infused with the mystical, elusive qualities of Neptune here as well. And it's very beautiful energy for your imagination. So yeah, you're gonna be, if you felt blocked or uninspired, or if you felt a little bit stuck, then this is gonna like reopen your passion, your heart, the things that are making you joyful. Your kids can become more spiritually inclined as well. But this is really like, if you have kids, then it's going to deepen your bond and your compassion and your emotional connection with them, especially if they are very creative. You're going to be able to support them more within their talents and their individuality here with the sign of Aries. But also, children might project or bounce back to you the Neptune and Aries traits or themes. And that can also be like confusion about their own identity, or them becoming way more sensitive and not really being able to understand it or deal with it. So you're going to have to be some kind of spiritual guide towards them. You're going to maybe need some more patience. Your patience is going to get tested with your kids here with Neptune in the fifth in Aries. But if you're going to be able to hold space for them, they're going to be able to blossom into a very spiritual, compassionate person themselves. So lead from the heart. Do not go into excess into all of the beautiful fifth house themes. You also need to ground and like get your practical things in order as well. Do not avoid that, but definitely follow your inspiration and allow all of your interests to evolve and to shift in very natural, divine timing kind of way. Stay grounded. If like pleasure starts to replace responsibility, then you're gonna be like, oh my god, Neptune, calm down. I need to like go to the store, get some food, clean everything, wash my clothes. But Neptune is like, no, I want to create music and I want to paint and dance and sing and love. And yeah, okay, calm down, Neptune. But definitely one of the most important and one of the most beautiful transits is actually for you here, my dear Sagittarius, because it's trining you from the fifth. This is very, very positive. So enjoy that. So, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Neptune is going to move into your fourth house. This is a very deep, private part of your chart. It deals with your home, your family, your emotional foundations. It's also about your upbringing, your ancestry, so your childhood patterns, and your inner sense of comfort and safety as well. So, areas here, they're gonna become more fluid, more emotionally sensitive. You might also idolize certain family members over the next 14 years. So idolizing your home and your family and your private life. Yeah, you need to like build a whole sanctuary where you can have your spiritual corner, where you can experience calm and peaceful energy, and you're gonna need to like cleanse out the home energetically. So some of you are gonna want to infuse your home with more of the spiritual Neptunian traits, like maybe redecorating, cleansing, decluttering, music, like frequency music, or like wierook, how do you say it in English? Like scents that like smoke, like the incense. Yeah, so incense, or like creating really a space that helps you like decompress from like the outside world, because your nervous system is becoming more sensitive, and you're gonna need to have like your spiritual safe sanctuary. But definitely it's gonna stir up a lot of childhood patterns, questions about where you belong, how you want to live, where you want to live. For some it can dissolve a place of living, and maybe some of you are gonna move to like a more peaceful, a more serene kind of place. With Saturn ingressing into the fourth as well, if you were to move, be sure to check the basement. Do not skip inspecting the basement. Look for water leaks, look for construction issues under the home. It can be the ground up which it rests, it can be the basement, it can be the first floor. Be ready and be sure to inspect that, or let someone inspect that who has like good knowledge of that. But also, yeah, some of you are really gonna feel pulled to like a different neighborhood, or you're gonna want to change your living arrangement. Your relationship in regards to home, it is evolving, but Neptune, it works more in the background over a long period of time. But whenever Saturn jumps in that as well, it's gonna get more of a notion, or it's gonna get the energy more going. And also, yeah, family dynamics, they're gonna become a little bit more harder to dissect or to know the truth. Can feel a little bit confused with certain family members, especially your female ancestral line. You might need to draw some very firm boundaries with certain family members, especially if they have been already lying to you, if they have deceptive qualities or tendencies. Then you might need to throw them out of the house. No, I'm just kidding. Like, but still, Neptune in the fourth. Yeah, this might not be so easy, and definitely because you are a cardinal sign or yourself, Capricorn. The Neptune is going to square. Yeah, some weird internet connection. We are definitely, like, you might have noticed my camera or like my sound. I hope it's recorded well, but with all this Aquarius energy, there's definitely some weird things going on with electricity and internet and Wi-Fi and all of that. But still, so it can also be a confirmation about what I was saying with Neptune in the fourth and having to be careful with family members. Or maybe you're gonna idolize them, and maybe some secrets are gonna be appearing whenever Saturn enters, and you can be like, oh wow. Yeah, it can be a team, but definitely the purpose of this transit is actually to, yeah, heal your ancestral line, and your childhood patterns, memories, realizations, maybe about your childhood, and also family condition that are gonna suddenly bubble to the surface. It's not about direct full force ahead and confronting family members. No, it's about having awareness on how these patterns are actually still influencing you up until now. So, and being more compassionate for yourself and your own emotional landscape. And might also be projected onto you through family members. Maybe someone close to you may become more spiritual or more emotionally vulnerable. And with Saturn in the fourth, soon it can also be about having to take care of elders, and that becoming a very heavy weight to carry as well. But boundaries and compassion and balancing that out is going to be key here for you. So, be careful when signing a contract in regards to property. yeah, that is also something to be mindful about. You're gonna maybe need to renovate some kind of issues that are gonna come forward with Saturn here, but it can also be a very beautiful time to really create a very spiritual bond with your family members. It is really about like increasing your emotional sensitivity towards them, and especially towards your mother as well in the fourth house. And a lot of omens, sneak peeks, previews, synchronicities around your family. So yeah, explore your ancestry. Set compassionate but firm boundaries, and also honor emotional sensitivity. Do not suppress it. And also, the biggest lesson here is to really create a very calm and nurturing home environment in which you can really like withdraw, isolate, listen to frequency music, meditate in your spiritual corners, some place inside of your house where you can be fully yourself and fully immersed in the spirituality without having to deal with like the outside world or whatever's happening on the world stage and all of that. So yeah, trust your intuition, but you need to really ground your decisions in facts and not only on feelings. So yeah, big rebuilding of the inner foundation. So I wish you good luck, my dear Capricorn. We have Aquarius and Moon or Rising. So Neptune is gonna move into your third house in Aries, and that is a house about communication, your thinking patterns, learning, teaching, writing, your siblings, your neighbors, being on the road, short distance trips, your local environment, technology, or like the technical devices that you use on a daily basis, like your phone, your computer, your car, all belong to the third house. So a very big shift in how you think, speak, listen, how you connect. You're becoming way more intuitive. Your mind is becoming more imaginary. You can become more inspired. This is really about inspired communication. And just know that your words are going to carry way more spiritual, emotional, and creative resonance. So you're going to feel more expressive, maybe even more poetic. If you feel like in search of inspiration, write down everything you are like getting channeled through. Neptune is channeling. Third house is the conscious mind. Woo, that can be very interesting. So write it down. You can write the most beautiful poem of your life. Poem. So poem. Yeah, I need to articulate a little bit better, because we're talking about the third house of articulation as well. So with Neptune here, that gets more infused with way more mystical undertone. There can also be like, what I've noticed a lot, whenever you have like these deep inner questions and you're pondering upon them, and suddenly you hear two people around the corner talking towards one another, and they're like unconsciously answering your question. And that is something, a lot of spiritual, mystical synchronicities within your local environment. That is definitely going to happen here at Neptune in the third. Very suddenly, intuitively, sometimes without like logic. That is going to be very appealing as well, and exciting even. And also, sometimes you can feel a little bit like sensitivity overload, sensory overload, because of the heightened sensitivity here because of Neptune. So make sure you consume good content, that you connect with the right people. Maybe you're gonna need to dissolve or like eliminate some certain people online for what you like process within your conscious mind. That is going to become very important. With Neptune here, your mind becomes way more open, way more sensitive. It's going to be easier to program the subconscious with Neptune here. So yeah, it's really about being careful of like the information that you can consume, and make sure that it's spiritual, make sure that it's true, make sure that it provides clarity instead of confusion. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult, and you're going to feel frustrated. But definitely, you're going to pick up on like the tone more easier when someone is talking to you. You're going to feel the meaning beneath like the surface of your conversations, and it's going to make you an excellent listener and a very powerful spiritual communicator as well. But not every intuitive hit needs to be spoken about. Sometimes not everyone is going to understand where you're coming from. So yeah, ground your intuition, and maybe do not go full on spiritual warrior mode within your communication with other people in the next few years. So your local environment, or like your community, local community, it might shift as well. Maybe you need to challenge certain behaviors that actually conflict with your own values. Neptune and especially Aries, it's about speaking up. So you might need to take on more of a spiritual leadership within your local environment as well. Third house is also like doing errands, going to the gas station, all of that, although it also belongs to the sixth. But in the third, you take your car to go get groceries. So it's all like intertwined, and you can have more mystical experiences, more synchronicities within like your daily routine as well. Do not idolize your local environment too much. If your neighbors are a little bit deceitful, or if your neighbors or maybe even your siblings are known for not always speaking the truth, then that is also going to become more obvious, but it can create more confusion here with Neptune. So try to, not get too lost in that. And there is also like a potential pitfall for like mental fog and engaging in misinformation, because Neptune, it really does blur the lines between assumption and your intuition, and sometimes you can misread someone's intentions. Neptune can like, you can put on like a rose-colored glass in regards to all of that. So yeah, you need to be a little bit more careful in regards to that. But definitely, if you want to start podcasting, blogging, making an email list, all of that, and like you're gonna notice as well that your DMs on your social media accounts are gonna become way more spiritually inclined, and the conversations that you're having. So big breakthrough in that. If you want to do a spiritual podcast, this is really beneficial energy. So yeah, trust your intuition, but check the reality when the stakes are high. And the third house is also in regards to signing contracts. Be careful about signing contracts when there's a lot of at stake. You can really use writing, speaking, teaching also as creative outlets, but be mindful of like assumptions in communication, and stay curious rather than like attached to one thing, one idea, one contract, because Neptune is going to dissolve them sooner or later. So yeah, there is definitely something that is opening up within your mind, within your voice. It's about the deeper meaning and like the subtle influence of Neptune that are going to come through. So yeah, let me know what happens, my dear Aquarius. Definitely with this whole Aquarius stellium in your chart, I am so curious. This is gonna, be an emphasis on a very big change here for the next coming few weeks. So I wish you good luck, my dear Aquarius. We have Pisces, Sun, Moon, or Rising. So Neptune is gonna leave your sign, my dear Pisces. So yeah, that is like time to celebrate. It has been increasing your receptivity, your imagination, your intuition, your psychic senses massively. But now it's time for a change. I think you've had enough. I think you are getting your master degree and all of the themes I've just mentioned, and other people, and especially other Pisces who are not so spiritually awakened or evolved, they've actually had their master degree in confusion, deception, and chaos. So yeah, I know it's not always been easy, and definitely if you are an evolved soul and you are surrounded by people who are not so aware, I like to call them like the unaware, then it just has not been easy. And I know that, my dear Pisces, whether you're evolved or maybe not so evolved, if everyone is on their journey, and it doesn't matter where you are, I just know that Neptune in your sign, it was a big deal. And now you're getting your diploma. So that is very positive. So the second house, of course, it is about your income, your possessions, your savings. It's also about personal resources, your self-worth, your skills and talents. It's actually the things that you value and the things that make you feel secure. So over the next 14 years, this part of your life is going to become more fluid, more maybe idealized, more spiritually defined. Something is opening up, but something can get dissolved as well. So just know that like your finances, they're not going to be totally stable, even though Saturn is going to help in that from the middle of February, but still Saturn in the second house means sometimes budgeting. So you need to really build a steady habit of saving, and that can save you from a lot of stress during the upcoming transits in the second house. If you've of course been following my channel, then you already are a little bit prepared for Saturn and Neptune ingressing in your second house. It's not about bad luck. It is more about like there is a shift towards your income streams and your creative work, and Saturn wants you to take it very seriously, and Neptune wants you to implement more spiritual approach within finances. So sometimes we get a lesson that some kind of money gets dissolved by Neptune in order for us to not too strongly attach our worth to our finances. So I'm already giving you like a heads up, and I see 222 on my recording here. So that is definitely a possibility. Just know that it's about, yeah, really believing in your own security and in your skills and talents, and having faith in yourself that you're always going to be able to build something and make something of your life. And Saturn then comes in the second house, and that can like totally restructure your whole foundation in regards to your finances. So Neptune here, it is actually pushing you to align money with meaning and purpose, and you need to feel less willing to like earn a living in ways that feel misaligned or disconnected from your heart, or simply maybe you feel empty. And Neptune wants you to focus on creative, spiritual, compassionate kind of work, intuitive kind of work, and bringing those qualities into what you maybe already do, or maybe something gets dissolved, maybe your work gets dissolved, and you're gonna need to, yeah, replace it by something in which the Neptunian qualities coming forth way more. So Neptune really is actually encouraging you and giving you lessons that you can actually monetize your skills and talents and everything that feels very aligned and soulful in your life. So it's going to shift your relationship to materialism for sure. And you're going to start to identify less with stuff and more with like emotional peace, your purpose, your inner stability, your skills, your talents, freedom within all of that. But for some people who are very attached to their security, it might be a little bit frightening at first, but you need to trust the process. You need to have confidence that you can handle it. And also be careful, because Neptune can sacrifice and it can overgive and it can undervalue oneself, and it can be difficult. You can like underprice yourself because you are gonna lean into like the martyrdom aspects of Neptune here, because you are a Pisces, Sun, Moon, or Rising. So it's actually learning you how to price yourself, how to value yourself. Saturn in the second house is gonna give you lessons if you undervalue yourself. So just be mindful of that. Do not overgive, because you are very generous, you are very compassionate, you are the sign of self-sacrifice, and that can include money, time, support, but you need to have some kind of compensation, and you're gonna be challenged in that, and you're gonna learn it with Saturn here. So yeah, be also a little bit mindful about misleading offers, or like buying something and then you find out it's not the right worth or value, or like trust your intuition and then verify with the facts before making major purchases. And if you do, keep the receipts. Maybe you're gonna need a warranty or something in regards to that, but also know that yeah, cleans out everything that is costing you more than it gives you peace. Or how do I say that in the right way? Oh, it's been a long day. You're the last sign. Maybe next time I'm gonna switch it up and start with Pisces, because you deserve the same amount of passion and energy as I start with Aries. But oh my God, this Neptune at 29 degrees. Woo, it's been a lot, honestly. Definitely the last week. I'm feeling it strongly with my Pisces stellium. So let me know how you're dealing with Neptune, your planet at 29 degrees. Now, luckily, during the summer, Jupiter is going to ingress into the 6th house of Leo and it's going to make a trine towards Saturn and Neptune in your 2nd house. That means that you can apply for a new job or have like an increase in work, an amplification, expansion within your daily routine that is going to flow directly towards your 2nd house of finances. So you can have a new job, a new stream of income, and it's going to be way more spiritually infused, or you're going to feel more inspired to rewire your daily routine. And all of that is actually looking quite positive towards the second part of the year. So do not get demotivated when it's a little bit tough here, more in the beginning of the year. You need to use spiritual protection around your banks, what you buy, your contracts, avoid like vague money agreements or arrangements, and also cancel like unused subscriptions and all of that. Everything that is costing you more than it's giving you, that needs to go, and Neptune is going to dissolve that. So yeah, create a saving routine, stabilize your finances with Saturn about to ingress, align your income with your values, with your skills, with your talents, trust your intuition, save the warranty, read the small letters within contracts, audit your own finances. There can be leaks within your finances. Neptune can dissolve some of your money arrangement, but you are the creator of your own destiny. And now that you're aware of that, you can consciously work with the energy and protect yourself from that. So yeah, the lesson here is security, becoming spiritualized, to learning to value what truly supports in your life, and also letting go of all the money choices that become like an extension of your soul, rather than like everything that's based off of fear in regards to money, and that you need to like love it unconditionally but heal it. Stay grounded, keep your boundaries in regards to finances, and make sure that your choices are based on spiritual truth and not avoidance or denial. And that is going to help you a lot during this time. So I wish you good luck, my dear Pisces. All right, that was it for today. I hope this was helpful. If you're still here, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And it's really helping me to grow it. And I all want to thank you so much for spending time with me today. And I'm looking forward to see you again soon for my weekly forecast here Tuesday at 12 noon Eastern time. So yeah, thank you all so much. I'm gonna have dinner and I'm really excited because my boyfriend is such a good cook, and I'm like really hungry. So thank you all so much, and I see you soon. Bye bye.